Hey, Skag here, in the garage, and I just wanted to share something with you guys. We got the airbags on, and I've been looking for a shock relocation kit. And reason being is that when you remove your front coil springs, you have to remove your shock absorber. The shock absorber goes up into the coil springs. So when you pull that coil spring out, you have to pull the shock out. You put your airbag in, and so then you lose your shock. So what are you going to do? A lot of people ride with no shocks. I drive a Lincoln. I don't think I should be riding with no shocks. Plus, on my test drive, I was getting a lot of bounce, stuff like that. So I was looking online. I was going to get a shock relocation bracket, and looking at them, I'm like, man, that's a lot of money, and most of them look like something that you can do yourself, and I think that I can do it myself. And so I'm going to show you guys what I did or what I'm doing. In the kit that I bought, I got it came with a shock relocation kit. However, it came for the kind of shocks that have the eyelet on the bottom and the eye on the top. And I'm going to reuse my shocks, so why spend money on new shocks if I can reuse mine? I have enough travel in my shock that I can use my original shock. So I'm going to show you what came in the kit, and I'm going to show you what I decided to do. Okay, so here this is the original shock, or one of the original shocks that came off of Claudine, 1979 Lincoln Continental. And the way that this mounts, this actually goes up into your coil spring, and this actually goes through this eyelet here, and this mounts to the bottom of your lower control arm. So I just popped this out. Now, what came with my air ride kit, and I appreciate the guy that I bought the kit from, because he kind of spared no expense. But it came with these upper shock mounts that you have to fab up, and it came with the lower shock mounts. And what happens, or what you're supposed to do, you drill a hole into your lower control arm. You put this in there, so this is mounted to your lower control arm. My arm is my lower control arm. I'm not a robot. Anyway, this mounts to your lower control arm. Your shock goes through here. I pull these out of my shocks, so it'll go through here, and you mount that to your lower control arm. And what you need is a relocation bracket for the top. Now, these won't work because these brackets here are made for a shock absorber that has the lower eyelet like this, and the upper eyelet like that. You know, where you mount it through. That's not going to work for me. So what I did was I got some angle iron, because most of the brackets that I've seen, they look like angle iron. Some of them are, and some of them are actually where two guys welded two pieces of metal together in an L, like a piece of angle iron. And they look sort of like this. And they got a hole in the top. You mount this to your frame. Put a couple of holes in it, or you can weld it to your frame, and your shock sits in there like that, and this bolts to your lower control arm. Now, one thing in doing that, you want to make sure your shock has enough travel. So if your car drops 4 inches or 5 inches, you need to make sure that your shock has more than 4 inches or 5 inches of travel, because you don't want to bottom out your shock on the bottom, and you don't want to overextend your shock on the top end when you raise your car to full height. So you want to have that travel. You don't want to use your shock as a bump stock. All right. So since most of these kits look like angle iron, I went and bought some angle iron, and it's the weekend, so I didn't have a chance to go to a metal wholesale place. And I bought this from the Homeless Despot, and you can get it from there, you can get it from Lowe's, stuff like that. I'm sure I overpaid for it, but it's the weekend, and I'm a weekend guy. So what I did, the average length of these, and looking at them, is anywhere from 6 inches to 8 or 9 inches. So I cut 6 inches off of this. I cut out a piece from the side, bent this piece over, and I'm going to weld this up. I'm going to drill a hole here in the top and 2 holes here to mount it to the frame, and I should be golden. Now, what I decided to do with the other piece, since I had to cut this other piece out, it left me with a little tab. So I'm going to try my hand at welding this tab in. And I think it'll be about the same amount of strength. And usually they say your welds, if a weld's going to break, it's not going to break at the weld, it's going to break at the metal. So I think it'll be fine. Because I'm going to have to weld this up, and I'm going to do a little reinforcement weld here. Because I had to cut along the back so it would bend. So I wound up welding that, and on the outside as well. So it'll be the same as if you just cut a tab and do it. But anyway, you guys can do it yourself. I think I can do it. You should be able to do it. If you're a gearhead, Gearhead Cup, see the merch in the video description. If you're gearhead, get out there and turn some wrenches. I mean, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
What?
All right, party people. Claudine looking good. I got my brackets fabricated, welded up. Don't judge my welds. I am not a paid professional. Clean those up a little bit. Actually, this one's the worst one. That's the one I started with, and I think I might have had my wire speed a little bit too slow, fast. I don't know. I got good heat penetration. I do know that much. I know some of the jargon, heat penetration. This one looks good. So anyway, all I got to do is make my holes in here for the shock absorber, and my mounting holes here. And I got to get test fitted and all that. But I think that's going to be it for today. As far as this goes. So, I hope this helps somebody. You can do it.